Hey guys, it's Sam and this is my review of The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This is a book that I wasn't planning on necessarily reviewing, but so many of you asked me to review this because this is a adult romance, which is not something that I usually read, and I talked about in my June wrap-up how I really enjoyed this book, so many of you have been like, can you please review it because you never read romance and we want to hear your opinion on it. Also, you may have noticed that I didn't say spoiler-free review because romance is a different genre than a lot of other genres in that people read romance for knowing some of the tropes. Romance is happily ever afters. You know the people are going to get together. So I don't really feel like I'm going to keep this completely spoiler-free in the same way that people would want for like a fantasy or any other type of book. Because if you're wanting to read a romance book, you want to know the tropes that are in it that you're going to like. So it's not about the like, oh, what's the plot going to be like? Because these romance books aren't about that, okay? They're about like fun and comfort and some of those things. So if you consider me talking about some of the romancy things to be spoilers, don't watch, like, it. I just can't talk about a romance book without talking about the tropes that some people might consider spoilers. Okay? So that we're gonna get into it now. So this has been a pretty popular romance book on BookTube, so many of you probably know the premise. So this follows our main character of Olive, and at the beginning of the story she is in her sister's wedding, and her sister is this person who wins everything. So she has put together this wedding from like winning all of these things, and she has this whole honeymoon that she won and everything like that. Well, everyone ends up getting sick at the wedding besides Olive and the groom's brother, who hates her and she hates him. So the bride says that she wants them to go on her honeymoon because she won it and she doesn't want to waste it. So Olive and Ethan, who hate each other, have to go on this honeymoon and pretend that they're the married couple because the bride wants someone to enjoy the honeymoon. And everything kind of goes from there. So again, since this is romance, I'm going to structure my review slightly differently. So I want to talk about mostly the tropes that exist in here so that you know if you like certain romance tropes, if you're going to like this. So we have enemies to lovers. Obviously, these are two people that hate each other. So they are going and they're enemies to lovers. They're stuck in the same location, same place, and have to be fake married, basically. So it's fake dating on steroids. They also have to share a room, so there's this like bed sharing situation going on, and there's a lot of like forced togetherness because they have to like take a lot of the trips together and they have to like look like they are married and like each other. So they have to be like physical when they don't want to be and things like that. So that's like the major tropes that are happening here. You also have some like drunken love confessions and things like that. So there's a lot of these kinds of tropes going on that if you like those, you're going to enjoy this. So let me talk about our characters. Olive as a main character, I really enjoy her. She's just funny. She's also a curvier girl, which is brought up a lot, which I really liked hearing about and seeing and everything. And then Ethan as our love interest. Although they hate each other and Olive has this reason for thinking he hates her and all of that, you kind of know throughout that like maybe things aren't quite what Olive thinks that they are, and he never comes off as just an asshole. Because I don't like romance tropes, especially contemporary romance, where the guy's actually a bad person and actually a jerk and then suddenly like isn't for her or whatever. Like I don't like bad dudes in contemporary. I like them sometimes in fantasy, but that's a different story. So he's actually like a decent person and you find out more about him. So that's nice too, because I know some people are really turned off by like enemies to lovers in contemporary where the guy's actually a horrible person, but Ethan is not. So I really like their dynamic because with this whole enemies to lovers type thing, you have a lot of banter with them. So I really enjoyed the banter throughout the story and the situations they're put in. Just overall, great times. Great times are had. As far as like the plot and the writing and stuff, this is just very fun and easy to get through. I also decided to read this because I didn't hear it was super smutty. I can't do smut, like porn, erotica, anything that's like real smutty. Not for me. Not for me. So I prefer more of like the fade to black sex scenes. I can do maybe like 1 or 2 sex scenes in a book that are like explicit, and I could have done with like 1 in here. I could have maybe, you know, maybe that would have been fine. But it was kind of nice for my first romance book, like adult romance book that I was getting into, that it wasn't super smutty and there wasn't a ton of like graphic depictions of sex. If you're really into that and you only read smut, you're probably not going to like this because it's like I said, it's a lot fade to black and stuff. But if you're just getting into the genre and you don't want to be confronted with genitalia all the time, this might be a good thing for you. Plot-wise, there were some things towards the end I didn't love. I felt like there were some things that happened towards the end that were like a little bit too tropey, like a little bit too easy it was a little, things happen pretty quickly in here, so some of the, like, conflict and resolution is pretty fast, which I wasn't quite okay with, but still really enjoyable. Again, I'm not looking for, like, Pulitzer Prize winning romance story here by any means, but I definitely enjoyed most of it. I wish the part with the actual honeymoon lasted a tad bit longer. It lasts for most of the story, but I wanted like a little bit more and a little less of like the after coming home bits, because those are the parts that I had more of a problem with. But overall, really enjoyed this. Gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars and would read more. I would. I'm making eyes at some different romance books just to kind of see how I feel. I'm dipping my toe in. It's not going to be my main genre by any means, but I liked this. So if you have more recommendations for books like this, comment them below and let me know. I do plan on reading The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. Don't worry, I also plan on reading Red, White, and Royal Blue, okay? But more books like this that aren't those, definitely let me know. Also probably going to read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. I've heard that earlier Christina Lauren stuff is really smutty, so I probably won't get into that, just because that's not quite my thing. But if you have books that are like this with 1 to 2 explicit sex scenes and no more than that, let me know. So comment down below, let me know what you thought of the Unhoneymooners. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.